June 25th in the garden, and I thought I would do a little tour. We have the dead plant shelf, which nothing's really dead. Now it's a tool shelf. We have a couple of asparagus ferns up there and a couple of pothos up there, but mostly it's just all the stuff that we keep away from the dogs. This is going to be our smelly garden. It's right off the patio, and right now it's got some sunflowers, which are probably not the right place for them, but we threw them over here. It's got a morning glory that is climbing up the house, and my rosemary that I love that has just been repotted, and a few other clearance items that we got at Lowe's that we're trying to bring back. That's a fuchsia that was doing well but got flooded, and we think we see life in it, so we're going to keep it for another little while. If I come around here, walking into the main garden, we have some echinacea. It was orange. It's gone pink. It's kind of pretty. I like it. It was another clearance item that seems to be doing pretty well. These rocks over here, we kind of have a plan that this whole section over here is going to be at the very least mulched. I'd kind of like to make it into a bed, maybe bring a good-sized water feature over here. This is some of our bags of clearance mulch. We got all of them this year for $1 so far. We're hoping to find some free stuff, but for now, the dollar will work. This is the main herb garden. It's had a lot of things in it. That is stevia. This whole center section here is different kinds of mint, lemongrass, and then we have some thyme. These, I believe, are our pumpkins, and this is a new tomato that we just planted yesterday, which is kind of late for me. I don't usually plant them this late. I'll be interested to see what we get out of there. Our basil is coming back, and the parsley isn't, so we're going to need to replant that. This over here is another pumpkin, and I don't know what that is. Pumpkin probably, tomato maybe, pepper maybe. I don't know. I'll have to ask Cassie. These are not clearance. These are my favorite petunias. And then these all in here are squashes, zucchini, I think. They're all zucchini. Something got that one. We're not sure if it's going to come back or not. I'm pretty excited about this part over here. This is going to be a sunflower teepee, I hope. No, see how it's a circle? So that our little friend Philip can climb around in there when it gets a little taller. Over here we have beans, which looks like somebody got into it, and strawberries, and then cilantro, which looks like it's about to go. I can see it coming to seed. If you can see the different shapes of the leaves, these ones are larger, and then this one starts almost getting ferny, and that's just before they make their seeds and aren't any good anymore. I'll need to probably put some seeds down, or we may just have to live without cilantro. Okay, coming on outside the garden, because getting over here, we didn't actually leave ourselves enough walking room. This was a nasturtium patch and has become a basil patch, which, you know what, I don't mind. I love basil, but sadly the nasturtium's not doing as well, and it was so pretty and happy with all those bright flowers. And then this is our, it's supposed to be a birdhouse garden. I'll kind of do a little like this. But what we have is a really tall sunflower that hasn't made a head yet. And that coming off the top is our friend Doc Ock, which is a morning glory. And I don't actually see any of them right this second, but it's this. Do you see the larger heart-shaped leaves as opposed to the smaller ones? This is one plant that makes gigantic white and blue blooms, and I'll try and put a picture in the video so you can see it, but it has taken over everything. If you look closely, it's all up that, it's all around all this birdhouse. It is actually comes all the way over here to the floor. Oops, sorry, I should unzoom. I'm learning. It's everywhere. We love it, and it's taking over the world. And then we have sunflowers, and we didn't know that they only had one flower, so we have quite a few that are done, and we need to take them out and replant, but we're sad to see them go. And then this is just a wildflower mix that we threw down here. We have no idea what most of this stuff is. a zinnia. We know that's a zinnia, but these little purple ones, they look a little like potato vine flowers to me, or snapdragon flowers, and I can't tell which they are. And then we have cosmos, which I love cosmos. It's that big bushy ferny thing. And we have a couple of those that are kind of hidden by the sunflowers. And then we have over here, there's just they look to be gigantic marigolds. So that's the birdhouse garden. Oh, there's one. This is one of the flowers from Doc Ock, but he also makes bright blue ones, which are really cool. Okay, moving on down, we have our asparagus section. We planted these asparagus not knowing at all what we were doing, so they are on just barely a little bit of dirt, and now we're mulching them. They came up and they started doing stuff. I have no idea if they're actually going to make asparagus that's any good. This is a blueberry. No, that's not true. It's a blackberry that had berries and now doesn't have berries, and so I'm assuming it's just a different season. All of this that you see on the fence right here are beans, and then it kind of leads over to passion flowers, and for some reason our passion flowers are no longer making flowers. We have not figured it out. So I'm going to come out here and deadhead in a little while and give them a little bit of Epsom salts and see if that doesn't help. This also is bean, and this whole open section here were bush beans, but they're done, and so we took them out. We have our cucumber, which I've had to turn him around so he doesn't go up over the fence. We've had a couple of cucumbers from this. They're good. They're kind of yellow, which I didn't really expect, but they also look to be just pickling cucumbers. I'm not sure when we're supposed to pick them. I don't know if maybe, there's a couple there that are gherkin size at this point. Do we pick them now? But even good size, they were quite yummy. This is a grape that we don't know what to do with. It won't grow. It's pretty, but it's only that big. We kind of expected it to be bigger. And then over here we have some peppers that just got planted. We've discovered that we really have we have a couple of pepper recipes that we have great need of much peppers. So we're gonna keep trying to plant them and expand that next year so that we actually have quite a few. You'll see if you follow as I follow this over, where this is a much finer mulch and this is a much thicker mulch, and actually this mulch is dyed, which isn't my favorite, but when you get it for $1 a piece, you don't really argue with them. You just kind of take it and hope for the best. Okay, hang on. And then this comes into a much more planted area. This basil was moved from the main garden because it was dying, and it does much better here. But if you look, right in the middle of there, that leaf right there is a sunflower coming out of the middle of that. I need to weed that. And then looking up, that's a really gross thing. I need to figure out how to drill a hole in the bottom of it, or at least put a plant in there, because gross, but it looks really pretty from far away. Then over here, these are all our morning glories that are starting to be joyful. They give us quite a few blooms. And then down here we have some eggplants. This is another one. I've never grown eggplant before, and they're little, and they look done to me, but they're so tiny. So I'm gonna pick one and see what we see. Then they have another one back there, and that's a bigger plant. That's a bigger eggplant. You can see that from here. And then this one, I haven't seen any eggplants on it. It had blooms a few days ago, but I don't even see those anymore. I think this one's in the wrong spot, and I think I'm gonna move them because he's right close to the tomatoes. This is my failed fountain. It worked for a couple of days. It was grand, but it doesn't have a high enough push through on water, and so and we also didn't fill it, and the kids let it run all night long. So the pump is dead right this second. I got to figure that out. These are our onions. They are just about dead. We've done them completely wrong, but we have a few that are beautiful and fun, and I don't want to pick them because they make me so happy when I bring them into the house. And then we have our tomatoes, and something has gone just wrong with our tomatoes. I wanted to document it because something is eating them, and we're almost getting what looks like sunburn on some of them. So I don't know. I'm gonna pull that all out today and pull out anything that's still good and wash it good because I'm not sure what's eating them. And then I'm going to make a pepper spray and spray it on them, hopefully discouraging whatever little beast is chewing on them. And maybe we can get a few tomatoes this year because we do have there's 3 in this area. This is a back here we have a golden pear, which I love them. This one is more of a Romano type, plum type tomato, and then these over here are large slicers. And we've got one back there that may survive. I'm hoping it'll survive, but at least for right now, that's where we are on our tomatoes. I cannot stress enough that Cassie and I have no idea what we're doing. We tried to grow Brussels sprouts, and they were pitiful, and then they got eaten right down to the ground. And these are radishes, which seem to be doing actually okay. They were pretty pitiful there for a little while. And then we have some beets, but we discovered that here in Texas, they're better as a colder weather crop. And so we're going to let them go ahead and come up, but we're going to wait for a few months and plant some more. We have some more morning glories because we love them and they climb all over the place. We have to tell our neighbor not to weed whack underneath because we've had a couple of casualties where they've weed whacked through that hole and knocked the whole morning glory out. And then over here are some more of those peppers. This one just shot up, this one in the front, just the other day. He was little like these guys, and then all of a sudden, after we put the mulch on, bang, he, grew about 3 inches. And then this is the lavender that survived. We had a great big one that died. It was very traumatic. But this one survived, and we're hoping that he'll grow back up and be wonderful. See how he's all bent over sideways. He was in a different location and then kind of got squashed. That leads us basically to our potted plants. They go along the front edge of the garden. We've got echinacea here. These are actually pink ones, and I believe that they are purple coneflowers, whereas the other ones were a weirdo orange one, which they're beautiful, but I don't think they're the same. And then we have some petunias on this side because we love petunias, and you can get them for sometimes 25 cents at clearance, and so that's what we do. They seem to come back really nice, and we do that. This is where some of the kids' toys are. This is a volunteer rose from my neighbor's yard, which I think is merely off the rootstock because it's never made flowers. And Cassie's fern that she loves, that we try to kill at least one a year, but this one's doing pretty well. Some more of your clearance petunias. These are last week's clearance petunias, so we'll see them in a week or so and see if they don't come back. The leaves look so much better. Again, another one. Clearance petunia. And then this is a curly grass that has been through it. I'll have to tell that. This is a Mexican heather that we used to grow in California as bushes, and I really like it. And then coming back around to the patio, we have a red bud out in the garden, but we also have this red bud. They're my favorite for banana bread. This is our ficus, which I'm hoping he lives. He just got repotted a couple days ago. He was about 6 inches over on the patio, and we moved him out to a much bigger container and was able to cover the roots and all of that kind of stuff. So we're hoping he does well. I don't know how we're going to move him in the winter, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And then the last couple of plants that we have here on the patio, we have a Meyer lemon, which is doing so much better. We had some late rain, and so it was these guys. This is a wisteria. They were in the garage for a really long time and so had lost all their leaves. This wisteria is in a pot, as you see, because here in Texas they go wild and they take over. What I want to do is bonsai it. I haven't quite figured out how to get it from here to what I want, so it's kind of just with its arms all wagging around. Anyway, that's our garden for today on June 25th, and you'll see it again when I come out here with a little bit more updates.